Hey, it's Chow. And here I'm doing a leg day, squatting again for the first time in like half a year. Honestly, purely for the fun of it. I mean, there's really no exercise quite like barbell back squats. Man, I mean, every time I step up to that bar, I feel like I'm facing off against a bear or something. But yeah, barbell squats are no joke. I feel like it's one of the few exercises that really actually pushes you physically and mentally. It's one of those exercises that are legitimately scary and you want to quit so bad, but when you come out the other end, you feel like you accomplished something huge. But yeah, in the middle of torturing myself with this exercise, I kind of got to thinking like, who was the first person that thought it was a great idea to load up hundreds of pounds on their back and go up and down, and then the next day wake up sore and then decide to do it all over again and eventually get huge legs, right? Like, who thought that'd be a good idea? And then that got me thinking even more that it was most likely someone that was just bored out of their freaking mind and restless and thought, hey, let me do something crazy. And after doing that, actually saw that it yielded something actually beneficial and fruitful. And this is something I've realized a while ago, but thinking about it in the context of bodybuilding is pretty interesting. What I'm referring to is how a lot of things in our life that maybe we take for granted, when we really think about it, were probably the result of someone being bored to death, right? Just someone being crazy bored, and that caused them to eventually invent something or create something that now changed the trajectory of human life. And yes, a lot of things were invented or created out of necessity, but it's within this idle time where, you're not trying to survive, you're not just trying to make ends meet. It's in this idle time, this boredom, that our mind begins to wander and think of new possibilities and imagine certain things. It's honestly a pretty magical state of mind to be in. And I believe that we've lost touch with what I like to call the art of boredom. I feel like we've reached a point as a collective where we view being idle or bored or, just lounging around, not really having anything productive to do, as a negative thing, something to refrain from. But I believe that couldn't be farther from the truth. In today's society, we literally fill any idle time with something that will occupy our brains, right? So if you've come home from work and you want to lounge around, you don't just sit and think anymore. You'll sit down on your couch and you'll turn on the TV, watch some Netflix, and your mind is constantly stimulated. You'll always hear people say, oh, I just want to watch something where I can turn my brain off. And ultimately, that's what's happening, right? Like doom scrolling, watching Netflix, gaming sometimes. All of these things are essentially putting your mind in autopilot, and I believe robbing it of its capability for imagination and creativity. Any time that we experience even a nanosecond of that idleness, we feel this sort of subtle discomfort and we immediately reach for the closest form of stimulation. And surprise, surprise, that's our phones, right? We have direct access to the most stimulating content, visuals, audio, right? Whatever it might be, we literally have the ability within our hands to immediately stimulate our brain once we feel even a nanosecond of that idleness, that discomfort. Think about how this might affect social situations, right? Let's say you're at a party and you don't really have anything to do, you don't really know anybody. So once you start to feel that discomfort, you immediately reach for your phone, open the weather app, blah, 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 right? It's so common because our brains have become so reliant on that constant stimulation to feel okay. But the reality is, sitting in that discomfort is what ultimately pushes us forward to do something, to act on that discomfort. I think back fondly to the days when I was in high school, before the AI, before all of the Instagram and social media and all of that stuff, right? I think back to summer break, right? And that was usually around 2 months, right? 2.5 months. And of course, at first, you're super excited, no school, and you get to do whatever you want, right? But then somewhere in the middle of it, the days start to drag on and you ultimately get bored, right? And I would remember I would lay in bed some days on a summer afternoon, The weather was beautiful and it was peaceful. Maybe my parents were downstairs cooking or cleaning or something. And I would just lay in bed and listen to airplanes passing by, the sound of the birds chirping, and just really be in the present, right? And while that sounds beautiful, and yeah, it was beautiful, I was bored out of my freaking mind, right? And that got me to start breakdancing and then getting into the gym and learning all these cool things, right? I started to do things that eventually changed my life for the better. Point is, I feel like we really devolved from that. I feel like we've lost the appreciation for the art of boredom. Not every moment has to be a hit of dopamine. Not every weekend has to be something exciting. Sometimes it's good to just sit in your presence and think. And who knows, something great might come out of that.